Have you ever felt trapped in someone else's game, like you're moving pieces on a chessboard you didn't build? Picture waking up one morning to realize that the world you thought was solid beneath your feet is actually floating on a sea of possibilities. What if I told you there's a secret backdoor and inner code that lets you rewrite the rules of existence itself? Today, we are unmasking Neville Goddard's law of assumption, fused with mind-bending quantum insights, to give you that cheat code. Imagine reality as a video game, and every thought you hold is a command prompt. You aren't just a passive player, you're the programmer. When you master this, you don't chase life's rewards. You command the game to hand them over. Think about it. What if money, love, success, even health weren't distant prizes, but pieces already on your personal board, waiting for you to trigger them? Sounds too good to be true, right? Yet modern physics and centuries-old metaphysical teachings agree. Your consciousness collapses infinite probabilities into a single outcome. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll learn how to become the architect of your experience, how to surf the quantum wave rather than be swallowed by it, and above all, how to outsmart reality itself by simply shifting your inner script. Ready to press start on the most important level of your life? Let's dive in. The illusion of an unchangeable world. Every morning, you roll out of bed, look out the window, and assume this is just how things are. Bills, traffic jams, endless to-do lists all repeat like a broken record. We buy into the idea that reality is this immovable, heavy thing, like a mountain standing between you and your dreams. But what if that mountain is more like clay, soft, pliable, and shaped by your own fingertips? Imagine reality as a vast ocean, and your mind as the tide that rises and falls. Each belief you hold sends ripples across this ocean, sculpting waves of experience. Most folks are stuck in the backwash, reacting you, not another email. Here comes rush hour again, never realizing they can learn to surf. But those who catch on understand that they aren't at the mercy of the swell. They're the force behind it. This is Goddard's law of assumption boiled down. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and watch the tides rearrange your shoreline. When you shift your inner state, your feelings, expectations, identity, the external landscape can't help but follow suit. It's like reprogramming a simulation. Change the code in the back end, and the front end updates in real time. The solid mountain of reality. It dissolves under the heat of your belief. So next time you catch yourself accepting this is how it is, pause and remember, you're not just drifting on the tide, you're the tide. Introducing Neville Goddard and his radical idea. Who exactly was Neville Goddard, and why should you care? Imagine a barefoot mystic wandering mid-century New York, teaching regular folks that their daydreams hold the power to shape skyscrapers. Goddard wasn't about wishy-washy affirmations or positive vibes-only fluff. He drilled straight into the mechanics. Imagination is the gateway to creation. His central mantra? Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled until your assumption hardens into fact. In plain English, act as if your goal has already come to life. Hold that mental movie on repeat until your subconscious rewrites its own script. He argued that your inner world literally molds the outer one, no exception. Now you might be thinking that's a hefty claim. But quantum physics brings its own twist, the observer effect. Subatomic particles jiggle in a haze of possibilities until an observer collapses, that haze into one concrete event. In other words, consciousness calls the shot. Goddard's teachings prefigure this scientific revelation by decades, insisting our focused attention collapses potential into reality. It's as if life is an uncut diamond, and your imagination is the cutting tool that shapes its final facets. The more precise you get with your inner vision, the sharper and more brilliant your external outcome becomes. Ready to meet the architect behind this theory? Neville Goddard handed people the blueprints. Now, it's your turn to build. Quantum truth. meets the law of assumption. Let's bridge the gap between mystical law and lab-coat logic. Quantum physics tells us the universe isn't a sewer pipe of fixed events, but a shimmering fog of probabilities, a wave function brimming with countless possibilities, each waiting for collapse into a single outcome. How does collapse happen? Through the act of observation, your conscious attention. Neville Goddard's law of assumption says, direct your attention on the desired outcome. Feel it as real right now, and watch the wave function pinch off the version you want. Think of reality as an all-you-can-eat buffet of life experiences. You choose which dish to plate by focusing your appetite. Crave security? Your consciousness steers you toward that station. Crave romance? Suddenly, love appears on your plate. But here's the kicker. If you waver, if you taste doubt, instead the buffet rearranges itself accordingly, and you walk away hungry. Picture your thoughts as radio dials on a cosmic transmitter. Each dial tunes into one station of reality. If you're cranking scarcity or doubt, you get static. If you tune to abundance and certainty, your speakers blast the soundtrack of your ideal life. This isn't pseudoscience. It's the science of probability waves meeting the art of assumption. Your mind is both observer and director, calling the quantum shots that cascade into the physical world. Why most people fail and how to succeed. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Most folks flip the mental switch for a hot second, then dart outside for confirmation. Okay, universe, show me the money. They think, checking their bank account obsessively. When numbers don't budge immediately, doubt floods back in C. It doesn't work, and poof, the fledgling reality vanishes. Doubt is the saboteur, the silent short circuit that kills every spark. The key to succeeding? Stop outsourcing your validation to the outer world. You're the gardener plant, the seed of your assumption. Water it with feeling, then let it take root without constant digging. Imagine burying a seed in rich soil, watering it once, then obsessively clawing at the dirt every hour. You damage the fragile sprout before it can break ground. But if you trust the process, if you loosen your grip and let nature handle the heavy lifting, you'll see green shoots in due time. Goddard's call is simple. Embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled and leave the how to the universe. Your job is to be the feeling. External evidence that trickles in on its own timeline. When you persist in the emotional state of your fulfilled desire without pacing the floor looking for proof, that's when the world finally delivers the goods. Success is never instantaneous, but it's inevitable if you refuse to waver. Living in the End, a practical guide. Ready to try this tonight? Here's your playbook for living in the end. Neville's signature technique. Set the stage. Find a quiet spot. Lie down or sit comfortably. Close your eyes and take deep, slow breaths until your body feels heavy, like you're melting into the mattress. Pick your prize. Choose one clear desire: a new job, healed relationship, or bank account balance. Specificity is your friend. The universe loves details. Create a mini movie. Craft a brief mental scene that implies your wish is done, signing the contract, sharing a laugh with your soulmate, seeing that account statement. Engage all senses, hear the sounds, feel the textures, smell the scents. Feel it fully. Immerse in the emotion. Taste the triumph. Breathe the relief. Carry the gratitude. This emotional intensity collapses the quantum wave in your favor. Hold it for at least 2 minutes. Let go and trust. Release the scene naturally. Don't fret about timing or methods. Trust that your assumption is now planted in the field of infinite potential. Return with conviction. Wake up and carry on, secure in the inner knowing that reality is rearranging. Avoid mental checkups on the external situation for at least a week. Think of it as seasoning a stew. You add the spices early, then let the flavors meld without constant stirring. The more you practice this nightly ritual, the stronger your subconscious blueprint becomes. Over time, you'll stop chasing outcomes, because outcomes will chase you. Real-life anecdotes and miracles. Still skeptical? Let's humanize this with real stories. Take Sarah, a teacher who was drowning in debt after her business failed. She decided, on a whim, to live as though she already had 6 figures in her savings. Each night, she visualized her bank balance at exactly $600,000, feeling peaceful rather than anxious. Within weeks, an old client unexpectedly reconnected and commissioned a large project, paying her far more than she had lost. Her debts vanished almost overnight. Or consider Raj, stuck in a dead-end relationship. He began imagining a loving partnership, genuine smiles, deep conversations, mutual respect every evening for 2 solid minutes. He detached from his unhealthy cycle, embraced the feeling of already being loved. And within months, his ex reached out, apologizing and showing real change. The spark he thought was gone flickered back to life stronger than ever. Coincidence? These aren't canned success claims. They're everyday proofs of consciousness in action. If quantum physics warns, there's no such thing as coincidence, only probability waves collapsing, then these anecdotes are textbook cases of probabilities aligning. When you hold an unwavering assumption, the universe delivers matching circumstances. Miracles aren't random, they're the byproduct of sustained intention meeting universal intelligence. Overcoming resistance and inner block. Let's talk about inner saboteurs, the mental weeds that choke your garden. You might think, I don't deserve this, or what if it never works? Those limiting thoughts are like invasive vines, squeezing out healthier growth. To uproot them, first catch yourself in the act. Notice the moment doubt pops in. Pause and ask, is this thought serving my desired reality? If the answer's no, switch channels. Use a concise affirmation, I'm worthy of abundance, or my ideal life is unfolding, and repeat it until you feel a tiny spark of relief. Think of your mind as a river. When you deflect negativity, you redirect the current toward calmer waters. The more you reroute, the more the river carves a new channel. Remember this, resistance is simply unexamined thought. Shine the flashlight of awareness on it, and it dissolves. Next, cultivate a mental safe zone reserved for your fulfilled scene. Whenever resistance arises, mentally step into that safe zone for a minute, breathe the image, taste the feeling, then slip back into your day. Over time, this practice builds a mental muscle of resilience. Doubt may knock, but you'll be ready to let it pass through without opening the door. By consciously guiding your thoughts, you transform your inner landscape, and in turn, the world outside must adapt to reflect your clearer, empowered state. Aligning your daily actions. Okay, you ask, do I just sit around imagining all day? Not at all. Aligned action is the powerhouse that turns assumption into lived experience. But the key difference is how you act from confidence, not fear. Suppose your assumption is I am thriving in my dream career. If you genuinely feel that, your job applications become joyful opportunities to share your gifts, not desperate pleas for approval. You network from abundance, seeking collaborations instead of scrambling for scraps. It's like the difference between steering a sailboat with a firm grip and rowing a canoe with frantic strokes. The sailboat harnesses the wind effortlessly, while the canoe battles the current. Similarly, when you anchor your identity in your desired reality, every step feels fluid. If your reality is, I'm deeply loved, you radiate kindness, set healthy boundaries, and attract people who mirror that energy. Notice how tasks that once felt like chores, updating your resume, attending seminars, reaching out to mentors, transform into guided, inspired actions. You no longer hustle from anxiety, you flow from certainty. This is the fusion of inner work and outer work. Your assumptions sculpt the mental blueprint, and aligned action materializes it in the physical world. Together, they form a feedback loop. Confident action strengthens belief. and belief fuels further inspired action. The power of consistency and persistence. Here's the golden ticket: consistency. A single night of living in the end feels good, but it won't uproot decades of conditioning. Think of reality like a railway track. One thought redirects the switch, but consistent thoughts lay the new rails that train your future. Persistence is the pickaxe that breaks through concrete patterns. Make your evening visualization non-negotiable. First thing, set aside 2 focused minutes to hold the fulfilled feeling. Then sprinkle mini affirmations throughout your day, during your commute, over lunch, before a meeting. Repetition is the drill that fractures old neural grooves. Consider Velcro. A single loop and hook barely stick, but a field of them holds firmly. Your subconscious mind is that field. Every time you imprint the new assumption, you add another hook. Soon, it's the default setting. And don't confuse intensity with duration. Short daily sessions beat sporadic marathons. It's better to do 2 minutes every day than 10 minutes once a month. Why? Because momentum builds momentum. One small shift sparks another. And before you know it, your inner world is humming a new tune. Reality must respond to whatever frequency you broadcast most often. So don't give up after a week of no visible change. Keep drilling, keep tuning your dial, and watch as the world finally bends to your steady, unwavering signal. Stepping into your power. Now comes the moment of choice. Will you keep playing by the old rules of scarcity, waiting for proof, begging for permission? Or will you stand up and claim your role as reality's architect? Picture yourself as an architect at the drafting table. You wouldn't wait for bricks to appear before designing the blueprint. No, you draft the entire plan, then call in the builders. Similarly, you must decide who you are right now, the fearless, abundant, loved version of you, and lock that identity in place. When you do, you're no longer chasing, you're attracting. You're not reacting to the world, you're initiating. Ask yourself, who am I being today? What version of me already has the life I desire? Slip into that skin. Walk, talk, think, and feel like that person. Show up at social events with the confidence of someone who knows they belong. Approach work challenges with the assurance of someone already succeeding in their dream role. Every action becomes aligned with your assumed identity, sending a clear signal to the universe. This is the frequency I operate on. And here's the liberating truth: reality can't help but comply. When you embody your chosen self without exception, people, circumstances, and opportunities rearrange as if magnetized by your conviction. Outsmarting reality means outshining doubt so completely that the world has to catch up. So here we are, you've glimpsed the machinery behind existence. From Neville Goddard's audacious law of assumption to quantum physics observer effect. You've learned to engineer your inner landscape, harvesting certainty, uprooting doubt, aligning action, and watched how the outer world responds like clay in your hands. But knowledge alone isn't enough. It's the application that cracks open the prison of sameness. Starting tonight, before your head hits the pillow, run through your fulfilled scene. Immerse in the emotion of having what you want, as if it's your new normal. Do it steadily, daily, without peeking at external proof. Tend your mental garden with persistence, and watch fresh possibilities sprout. If this message resonates, smash that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into the art and science of manifestation. And drop a comment sharing your first experiment. What assumption will you hold this week? Remember, reality isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. You hold the pen, the universe responds to your script. Choose your next chapter wisely, because when you outsmart reality, you don't just play the game, you rewrite it.